And without further ado, I would like to hand over to the Deputy Secretary General, Knudsen. Thank you.
Thank you very much, ministers, distinguished guests, colleagues. A warm welcome to the OECD. It is really a great pleasure for me to open this OECD Global Forum on Technology event on building our biofuture. The Global Forum on Technology, or as we call it, GF Tech, serves as an important, inclusive platform to anticipate both opportunities and risks presented by emerging technologies. It draws on the perspectives of technology and policy experts from a broad range of countries and sectors. It does so in order to help policymakers get ahead of the curve on new technologies and understand their societal and policy implications. As part of this work, today we're holding a dialogue to bring to light the opportunities and challenges of biotechnologies, one of the three current focus technologies of the GF Tech. New biotechnologies such as synthetic biology, gene drives, and biomanufacturing promise to revolutionize healthcare, environmental sustainability, and food security. They promise efficiency gains and opportunities to regenerate living ecosystems. We're already seeing benefits from treating or eradicating infectious and genetic diseases and alleviating food shortages to fostering sustainable manufacturing and mitigating the impacts of climate change. However, biotechnologies are not without real and perceived risks for human health, for the environment, for biosecurity, for biosafety as well. This makes credible and trusted risk analysis systems very, very vital. Governing science and technology today requires understanding the pace and depth at which innovations are reshaping our economies, are reshaping our societies. Policies need to foresee disruptions and mitigate risks of harm. And this brings me to the importance of putting anticipation at the center of emerging technology governance. An anticipatory approach to technology governance is actually what the OECD has been championing for some years already. In 2019, we developed the world's very first intergovernmental standard on artificial intelligence, the OECD Artificial Intelligence Principles, more than 3 years before generative AI took the headlines, and they later that year went on to become the G20 Principles for AI. Also in 2019, we adopted the first intergovernmental standard on responsible innovation in neurotechnology. Building on our experience in developing these two legal instruments, this week, at the Science and Technology Policy Ministerial meeting, we will launch, it's also a week of science and technology policy, but at the very meeting, we will launch the OECD framework for anticipatory governance of emerging technologies. This framework will help equip governments and other innovation actors to anticipate and get ahead of future technology governance challenges and build longer-term capacities to deal with emerging technologies more effectively, more efficiently. We need to keep ahead of the curve, looking at the next generation biotechnologies on the horizon to inform policies for maximizing technology's positive impacts, while of course at the same time as always mitigating the risks. The GF Tech is designed to do just that, building our collective wisdom to prepare for new technology developments in 3 ways, all of which are reflected in today's event. And let me close by just touching on all 3 of them. First, we are bringing a multidisciplinary approach to align biotechnology development with shared values and to promote growth, well-being, and sustainability, ensuring that biotechnologies develop in ways that are responsible, values-based, and rights-oriented technology development is essential to building the trust that's necessary for their uptake. Today, we will look into how to harness biotechnologies for environmental sustainability and resilient societies. This event features a series of panels focusing on applying biotechnologies to different contexts, notably human health, agri-food, and the bioeconomy, to strengthen our environmental and our societal resilience. We also need to be attentive to potential divides to ensure that access to tools and benefits of next-generation biotechnologies are shared by all within and across countries, within and across various groups. Second, Through our technology focus, we seek to expand the understanding of biotechnologies to improve their governance. To this end, the Global Forum on Technology has set up an expert group on synthetic biology with 66 members from 32 countries on 6 continents, representing frontline scientists, academia, industry, and civil society, as also mentioned by our moderator in his opening remarks. I would like to personally thank those experts for their dedication in supporting the Global Forum on Technology and sharing their knowledge and good practices. I look forward to hearing from some of them later today in the panels. Third and last, we have an ambition of inclusivity, with the participation of policymakers, experts, and a diversity of stakeholders from OECD and partner countries. This is evident in the diverse composition of the Global Forum on Technology Synthetic Biology Expert Group Focus. It's also evident from the panel before you, and it's, I think, evident also if I look at the audience from here. We treasure that diversity. So in closing, let me say that today we are embarking on a long-term effort to roll up our sleeves and work together to anticipate and shape our technological biofuture. This community and the diversity of knowledge and expertise represented here today will set our course for that biofuture. So with that, thanks again, welcome again. And I'd like to give the floor to our next speakers who will give insights on the promises and challenges of emerging technology from a policy perspective. So I'm not sure if I hand over to the moderator or I could hand over to the interim moderator, which is me. Maybe that's easier. And welcome on stage Ms. Aisén Etcheverry Escudero, Minister of Science, Technology, Knowledge and Innovation of Chile. Minister, you have the floor. I think maybe, yeah, sure.
Thank you so much, and good morning to everyone. So I was asked to give a few remarks on the challenges and opportunities of emerging technologies, specifically biotech. And I have to start by saying I'm not a biotech expert by any chance. I'm a lawyer and I run a ministry. So the challenges I face is the ones I want to share with you, and I think could be interesting also for the discussions ahead of us, right? When we think about emerging technologies from the policy perspective, I guess there are 3 main questions that we need to tackle. The first one, and being a lawyer, probably the one that excites me the most, is how do we regulate, right? We have technologies that are evolving over time, that change constantly, that require regulations that are complex, but also need to be flexible, that need to evolve at the same pace as technologies do, and also need to take into account all the risks that are still being researched, right? And facing such regulation is extremely difficult. I come from a civil law country where regulations are complex, extend, and permanent over time. You regulate and the laws stay there for 10 years, 15 years, and 20 years. So when you think about how to regulate among technologies, the challenge becomes even larger. We don't have the answer yet. We have experimented over time, particularly with digital technologies, and we are using sandboxes, and we're using different tools that are familiar to the OECD community, of course. But when it comes to biotech, the challenges are even greater. We all are looking into risk assessment. We are looking into how we can certify the safety or how respectful technologies are with human rights, but then that requires having certain capacities. It requires not only to regulate, but to have the agency that are able to understand and to better address the challenges that technologies present. And that takes me to the second large challenge, right? And it's how you leverage capacities. Ulrik was talking about the digital divide, the technological divide. But that divide is not only on the research side and on the company side, but it is also within governments. If you don't have the structures, the public agencies, and the capacities within governments to actually tackle, understand, and regulate in the correct manner these technologies, then you can have beautiful words written in your laws, but the possibility for them to be enforced are extremely scarce. And that is the second and probably the most pressing issue in different countries. Technologies are evolving fast. Companies are creating these technologies even faster, and then governments need to pick up and be able to address those challenges. And the third one, and it was also mentioned by Ulrik, is the capacity to anticipate, which is, again, something extremely hard for governments and for agencies. We are all in the everyday challenges. We are facing contingencies. We are facing emergencies. We are facing a world that is changing extremely fast with climate change and the challenges to democracy. But we need to incorporate within all those tasks the capacity to anticipate. And that's even harder, I would say. It requires to be able to rely on scientific knowledge. It requires to be able to stop and think, which is something politicians do not always have the time to do, and I include myself within that group. But it requires also a lot of discussion, both internally and internationally. And this is why the fora we're going to have and the discussions we're looking forward to have during the next couple of days are so important. I would like to end my few remarks by saying just one thought. We are facing a world that is changing so fast, with challenges that are not small. We're talking about climate change and democracy and the incorporation of new technologies and the massivity of artificial intelligence, and then comes quantum, right? And those challenges require to pay specific attention to how we want to build our future. Do we want to build it on human rights? Do we want to build it based on scientific knowledge, or do we want to build it based on intuition, I would say? So to move from one direction to the other requires a lot of commitment. It requires a lot of conversations, and this is why we are here today, and we are so much looking forward to the discussions ahead of us. So thank you so much, and I give the floor to you, Ulrik.
Thank you. Thank you, Minister. Thank you, Aisén. Those were not only, opening remarks from your perspective. They were actually also scene-setting remarks. A lot of food for thought there. So thanks for really promoting our event today with those remarks. I now would like to invite Professor Mohammed Belhocine on stage. Professor Belhocine is also African Union Commissioner for Education, Science, Technology, Innovation. You have the floor.
Thank you very much. Good morning, everybody, dear participants, dear colleagues. I'm really honored for this invitation from OECD. I was asked to provide a perspective on STI policy challenges and opportunities from the approaches Africa is taking to foster robust STI policies in emerging technologies. This age is defined largely by technology, which drives change and opportunities in our lives. It is a primary lever of economies, society, politics, and governance, as you said in your introductory remarks. It is, in its wider context, STI represents a dynamic transformation of the world in which we live. The African strategic frameworks like the African Agenda 2063, which is a blueprint for African development to 2063, the Science, Technology and Innovation Strategy for Africa and the Digital Transformation Strategy for Africa strive to harness digital technologies and innovation to transform African societies and economies, promote integration, and generate inclusive economic growth. They seek to capitalize on STI to stimulate job creation and eradicate poverty. So far, many African countries have developed ICT policies and are working within a continental framework to identify and address barriers to harmonization of laws and regulations. Internet penetration expanding telecommunication and mobile telephony present further prospects for growth and sustainability of ICTs. For Africa, digital and emerging technologies are a unique opportunity to provide internet access and connectivity for hundreds of millions of people. This bodes well for GDP, economic productivity, and the harmonization of cross-border systems of trade and payment. It strengthens the drive to revolutionize the African financial sector and to address the continent's digital divide. I mean the inside continent's digital divide. Alongside the change and possibilities offered by STI, several challenges have emerged that require global collaboration to address. The advent of new and digital technologies presents the risk of deepening existing economic, social, and technological divides. This means limited access to technologies for a significant number of the world's population, thereby creating a new sort of digital gap or digital divide. As with other social and economic disparities, the digital divide is persistent between the rich and the poor, between developed and developing world, between the global north and south. The dominance of big corporations in the digital and emerging technologies industry also stifles efforts at democratizing the sector. This poses the risk of limiting collaboration amongst the big players at the expense of startups and operators in third world countries. In Africa, our startups have to struggle very, very, very hard to survive to the difference of what's going on in the northern part of the world. Emerging and new technologies present different types of risks to society. These border on data security, privacy, cybercrime, terrorism, ethics and human rights, amongst many other concerns, as was mentioned by the previous speaker. Social media, predictive algorithms, and intrusive surveillance technologies continue to spread discrimination and may threaten personal freedoms. Aside from the above, STI policy, cooperation and governance are full of complexities that minimize the prospects for realizing the potential of new and emerging technologies. Africa has its share of global STI challenges, with easy internet access and affordability for the majority yet to be overcome. This is in addition to weak coordination amongst continental institutions pursuing the digitalization agenda of the continent. There is no way we can really be at the same level of development if we are not connected properly 100%, 7 days a week, all the year. Our world has been connected more than ever before with STI and new emerging technologies. Therefore, addressing the digital divide and policy gaps must be a collective global enterprise. We must eradicate the barriers to meaningful engagement and create space for international collaboration on STI if new technologies are to foster global equity and development. The role of promoting collaboration in science, technology, and innovation has largely been undertaken by technical institutions across borders and regions. The strategic and multifaceted role of international organizations like the African Union and the OECD creates a window of opportunity for their involvement in fostering international collaboration on STI. This duty derives from their position as knowledge hubs, innovators, and norm setters in the global development landscape. Collaboration is an all-inclusive undertaking that must cover the broadest compass of stakeholders. In STI, engagement should include not only governments and international organizations, as I was saying before, but also the private sector, academia, and industry experts, and I'm happy to see the broad range of specialties and the domains of intervention of the participants here today. This is the holistic approach capable of reaping the benefits of new technologies and ensuring security of the internet. It is all too obvious that the gap in both technology acquisition and usage in developed and third world countries is extremely wide. To bridge this gap, international collaboration must enable technology transfer and knowledge sharing, as well as address the needs and priorities of third world countries. Such a collaborative model will facilitate disruptive technologies, including artificial intelligence, cloud technologies, and blockchain, to lay the ground for unprecedented innovation. The global market for STI value chain is big and dynamic. To exploit this market as a common advantage, there is need for a robust network of STI entrepreneurship that will thrive on collaboration and complementarity. Be it in research, with applications or technology, startups and big companies can trade expertise and experience. They can jointly implement large-scale projects whilst sharing data, creative ideas, and physical resources. There is practically no limit to what collaboration can do to maximize the unique value of STI. It unites our purpose as different geographical regions, economic actors, and organizations to utilize new and emerging technologies for our common benefit. International collaboration on STI will continue to break new grounds for innovation and human development. It will strengthen our collective abilities to preserve the safe and secure use of digital resources for a democratic, just, and prosperous world. We are here, it is the second time that we have an interaction with OECD, and we hope that we will go from here with some more concrete actions that we can do in this philosophy that I have tried to describe in my speech. Thank you very much.
Professor Minister, thank you so much for providing much more analysis and insight to that all-important topic of avoiding digital divides within Africa, but also between Africa and, for example, OECD countries. I couldn't help but think about a piece of demographic prognosis I read the other day, that in 2050, the working age population of Africa will be bigger than all 38 OECD countries plus China combined. I'll say that again. China plus all 38 OECD countries combined will have the same working age population that Africa. If we do not solve this issue of the digital divide, if we do not enable, if we do not upskill that next African generation, I think we're in for big problem, both in Africa and in the OECD. So let me promise you that this is not the second time we interact, not the last time we interact. We will have to have much more interaction between the AU and the OECD. So thank you very much for being here. I now turn to our last speaker of this morning's opening panel, Mr. Kitipong Promwong. Welcome to the stage. You are President of the Office of National Higher Education, Science Research and Innovation Policy, Council of Thailand. You have the floor.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ulrik. And it's my honor to come and share with you about the promoting technology, especially emerging technology in Thailand. Regarding specifically biotechnology and synthetic biology. Actually, synthetic biology, we can say that it is emerging, but it's already with us for a number of years already. It related to a number of technologies, including fermentation technology, gene editing. Before, we used the term genetic engineering, but not very acceptable by the public. Then we changed to be the gene editing, and now we use synthetic biology, but it covers all kind of these kind of advance of technology. In Thailand, currently we adopt one of the, we call it economic development model. We call it BCG. B is a biotechnology, bioeconomy, and C is a circular economy addressing the climate change and sustainable development. And G is a green economy. So this BCG, why we use BCG? Because BCG industry in Thailand account for about almost 1/4 of the Thai GDP. So we have a big sector like agriculture, food. Food is a very large sector in Thailand. And bioenergy, the transformation from the fossil-based energy to be bioenergy in Thailand. The private sector set up many bioenergy complex. So this afternoon, we also have some representative from the private sector to share with you as well about the advancement of the BCG regarding energy sector. So according to develop this to be a part of the economic development, the government play important roles, but in terms of technology development and innovation in Thailand, I think most of the work is in the private sector. The investment in research and development in Thailand, over 70% from the private sector. The government only contribute about 26%. So private sector is very important in this sense. However, in terms of policy, the government trying to create the ecosystem to support them. In the advancement of emerging technology, including biotechnology, I think in one country we cannot do much. So collaboration with other countries is very important, and the government set up mechanism to support collaboration. For example, recently we set up what we call a Global Partnership Fund, encouraging Thai researchers, Thai business, Thai industry collaboration, and then seeking a partnership overseas. Technology transfer. I think this is a key for developing technology, not just only the prototype, but commercialize. And technology transfer mechanism, there are a lot of things that we can do. Transferring technology from business to business, but another way of transferring technologies from research side, from university or government research institute, collaborating with overseas institutes. Anyway, we need participation from the companies or the industry as well. Also recently in Thailand, we set up what we call competitiveness fund. This is the fund to support especially investor coming to Thailand and have not just only doing the production or manufacturing, but also serving in terms of developing capability related to technology development and innovation. We have quite a large fund to support each company that coming, collaborating with the local supply chain and local research institute. We define some of target industry, and bio-based is one of the most important target industry in Thailand, among others, for example, semiconductors, biomedical, and also, as I mentioned, the future food. In Thailand, the food industry is very large, and we have quite a strong in terms of food industry in Thailand. Now, the food industry getting into kind of the end of the S-curve. So we need to think about renew the new S-curve. And then we are promoting now what we call future food. Future food comprise of first functional food and functional ingredients. And this, functional food or functional ingredients using a lot of what you call a synthetic bio. Second, medical food. Third, which is also important, and there are very large market, is alternative proteins. In Thailand, we have a surplus of carbohydrate, a lot of carbohydrate that we can produce, sugar, tapioca, starch, rice, and so on. But what is, a carbohydrate, the price is a bit lower than proteins. Now we are thinking about synthetic bio to change the surplus of carbohydrate into proteins. And we support investment of, for example, using starch from corn starch, producing amino acid. The value add is very high, many times. If you selling starch, very low price, but selling amino acid with a not so big amount quantity, but a high price. These are examples, but it needs technology. It needs a special microorganism. How you can do the gene editing, if you like to call it, so that you can produce necessary amino acid. The amino acids which rarely, available. So using the bacteria to producing it. Once upon a time, we have a policy, we call it microorganism economy. Changing our rich of bioresources into a high value add products. So that is another thing. Competitiveness fund supporting companies coming to Thailand, but not just only doing manufacturing, but also developing technology and innovation. An example regarding the synthetic bio is another interesting one, is using the carbohydrate, but changing into the textile. But it's a protein textile, and we call it a functional textile, very strong, fibers. Producing from starch can be called corn starch or tapioca, and changing into the kind of like a web, the spider web is a protein materials, and this can be used in a lot. This is a smart materials, can be applications in many industry. Another thing that we do is supporting in Thailand the key players in economic development. There are two types. One is a SME. The other is large company. And in terms of export, there are less than, it's about, I think, just over 60 players, companies, large companies. Half is a Thai-owned, the other is a multinational. Account for about 70% of Thai export. And the rest is a SME, account for about only 30% of the export. But in terms of employment, SME account for about 70% of employment. So this is a kind of a dilemma. We would like to develop, and distribution of income and so on. there is some conflict in terms of structure of the economy. So we also need to change that by promoting more small and medium-sized capability of smaller enterprise, and we call this innovation-driven enterprise, supporting them, not a very large company, medium-sized, and trying to equip them with innovation so that they can grow and jump growth. So that's on the mountain, not just only a very small grass and then big trees. We will have a medium-sized bush as well. Lastly, you talk about the human resource development. That is, I think, the bottom line. In Thailand, if you allow me 2 minutes, I will share about. In Thailand, we changed the education system. Normally, when you would like to have human resources, you have education. At bachelor degree, you have 4 years. You have to wait for 4 years to produce graduates. Now, we start a sandbox, changing the curriculum and provide education as a module. We started this year computer science and digital technology with 300 students. Instead of waiting for 4 years, we divide the modules and organize education with 70 firms, 70 companies. The companies and the faculties design freely what kind of human resource the company want. And we waive all of the requirement of higher education standard just for this case, and then we have a special committee to look after it, and we call the sandbox. The student, we ask the companies what kind of human resource and competency that you like. They say that they want 3 groups of students regarding this kind of technology. One is, they call it a full stack developer. The second, data engineer. And the third, cloud admin. They said this is what they want. And we designed this. The first year student will be study and certify. If they pass the competency, we certify them as a full stack developer. They can go and work with the company immediately. The salary 3 times higher than the graduates. They can enjoy the work forever, or they can come back and study another 2 modules to be the data engineer. And then go out and work and never come back is okay. But if they would like to come back to upgrade to cloud admin, they can come back. And once they got enough the credits, we award the degree. But the degree is meaningless in this case. So this is changing according to the disruption world. So I just stop my remark here. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Promwong, for providing us with these super interesting insights and experience from Thailand. I can't help but just notice and maybe just highlight the fact that we have heard today from speakers from Asia, from Africa, from Latin America, a testimony not only to the diversity of the challenge and the diversity that we need to keep in mind as we progress, but also the way we approach this at the OECD. We cannot solve this OECD countries alone. We have on stage, speakers from a relatively new member, a prospective member, and who knows, future members. And I think this is the right approach for the OECD. We have to be global. We have to be inclusive. We have to be outward oriented to keep this conversation going, to create norms and standards and policy advice together. So with that, thank you once again, and please give one more round of applause for this amazing panel.
expert focus group on synthetic biology, which is ongoing. And this event today will feed into the work of that expert group. And so the discussions today will really be taken up. So please voice your questions. Come to me on the side and say, actually, I've been thinking about this, and share.